Alright, for the end of the month of darkness, let's take a step away from all of the horror and jump scares, haunted animatronics, writers, and crappy Cthulhus. Instead, let's take a look at something that's more psychologically disturbing with that indie darling, Limbo. Limbo was released in 2010 by developer Playdead, and is the tale of a young boy with a big head traveling to find what I think is his sister in a monochromatic world. This is usually where I would launch into explaining about the story, but Limbo's not exactly that clear about such things, so here's what I can piece together instead. There are two ways to look at this story. The first is that you live in a post-apocalyptic world with worse city planning than the Darkness 2. You search through the cities and forests for your lost sister, only finding her twice. Once when you're very close to death, and once when you die. I believe this version more, since at the end of the game you break through an invisible barrier, coming to rest in a bright, friendly place with your sister playing there. But when the menu resumes, you see the same place where you found your sister rotting and destroyed. This is the reality that we have explored throughout the game. The other belief of the storyline is that you are already dead and traveling through a literal interpretation of Limbo, the edge of death, realized as a factory and forest of death. But to all those who believe this, I challenge you to explain the state of the treehouse between the ending scene and the menu. If this is Limbo, and the treehouse symbolizes reaching heaven with our sister, why is there a rotted and destroyed version of the treehouse? That's symbolically saying that there is a rotted heaven. And if you're saying this is the only part of the game that's real life instead of Limbo, why would that be the only part? Firstly, Occam's razor, the simpler explanation should be used, but even assuming a more complicated answer, it still makes no sense for the static scene of the game to take place in the real world, yet share the art style and feel of the Limbo world. So instead, let's take a look at the puzzles and controls. Overall, Limbo is incredibly enjoyable, its atmosphere oppressive, and without discouraging exploration. What will and won't kill you is very clear, because the answer is, everything kills you. See that pillar? Kills you. That box? It can kill you. The giant kill it with fire spider definitely can kill you. And there is no such thing as a pit that you may have to drop down for a puzzle, because height can kill you too. Even the other children who ostensibly should be helping you are out to kill you with traps and blowguns. As much as it's clear what will kill you, there's still lots of times in the game where you die and don't know what to do about it. Some of the jumps and windows of opportunity not to die are so short you'll need to land them perfectly. Luckily, the autosave won't put you back very far, but it can still be very frustrating after the 5th or 6th time of being sent back because you weren't perfect. It's also heavy with the trial and error. Early on, the solutions are clear with a bit of thought, but as you go on, your only choices are trying over and over and over until something clicks or you look up the answers like a cheater, and you can guess which option I took for yourself. This wasn't my first playthrough of the game, and I still couldn't figure out some of these solutions. Some parts became, press the button. Oh, it killed you? Well, now you know for next time not to press buttons. Just continue on. Oh, look, another button. Careful not to step on. Yes. See, that time you have to jump on the button. It's okay, we won't send you back too far. Oh, look, it's another button, exactly the same. You remember how to do this, right? No, you idiot! Don't press the button, remember? Go back and do it again. That's not good game design. Another part of the game that clearly no one had the guts to tell the developers that it sucked was whenever the glowing worm attaches to your head. You must keep walking forwards no matter what and can only speed up or slow down. If you didn't set everything up correctly before discovering the worm, you can't stop yourself from dying. And then they add in timed puzzles that you can't properly control with your own timing since you can't stop moving. On the other side of the coin, the jump physics are excellent. I never died because it felt like the controls had killed me. Every death that wasn't from not knowing the answer was my own fault. I'd either hit jump too late or too early to be ready for the challenge before me. Sometimes I get frustrated by the perfection required, but I always knew what I needed to do differently. So the final question is this a horror game? Honestly, I would say no. It can be a bit disturbing, and the sections with the giant spider in the forest are highly unsettling, and the lack of music helps to build an atmosphere of hopelessness. The decay and horror of the dead bodies all over, and even having to use them to solve puzzles or as platforms, can be incredibly macabre. But you never feel startled or afraid throughout the game. And towards the end, even those elements that created darkness and horror are completely lost for an industrial setting with nothing you wouldn't expect just from me saying that phrase.
Even so, I would suggest picking this game up. It's available on pretty much every platform that there is, and the max price out there is $20 for the special edition new. While it might not be the scariest game, it has enough to make you think and occasionally shudder.